Hey everyone, welcome to another Darth Tigger's Totally Biased Reviews, the show where we take a look at something and then we talk a little bit about my biases and I tell you whether I liked it or not. And based on the things that I like and the things that I don't like, you can decide whether you want to go see what it is that I'm telling you about. So today we're going to be talking about the four-part crossover for the CW hero shows. And if you saw my part one, my little teaser to all of this, you will know that I absolutely loved the first two episodes. Well, I have since seen the second two episodes, and I have to say, I love those even more. This has to be the best television event that I have ever seen. I have been waiting for this event ever since I was a kid. So let's talk a little bit about my biases first. So I like comic books. I've been reading comic books, I think, since I was 6 years old. I've been a big TV lover for years, and every time there has been a show that has had a spin-off and they do the crossover episodes, I've always loved those. I'm just big into those. I liked the Smallville series when it came out. I liked Linda Carter's Wonder Woman series way back in the day. I liked Lois and Clark when it was out. I like Supergirl, although the first season, when it was on a different network, I found it was a little bit too girl power, girl power, girl power. And the second season, they got better with that. The third season, which is now, they're letting the characters, Supergirl and her sister and the other characters, they're letting the characters, the superheroes, the heroes, be heroes. And they're not, shoving the girl power in your face anymore. They're just letting the heroes be heroes. And they just happen to be girls. And it's a much better show now because of it. So if you haven't been watching it, go watch it. I love The Flash. I love Arrow. I'm liking Legends of Tomorrow better this year than I did last year. I thought they were straying a little bit, getting a little bit hokey last year. I think they're doing a better job this year, so I like that. Now, I never get into shows like Constantine or Gotham. I don't know what it is about them. They just never hooked me as much. And it's important to note that I like superhero shows where the heroes are heroes. I'm not I'm invested in these characters, and I have been for probably 45 years, or 44 years, whatever. So if you start changing my characters, the characters that that are so ingrained in me, I have a little bit of a harder time. So I like all of the Netflix Marvel's properties right now. Yes, even Iron Fist. And yes, Iron Fist was a colossal dumbass. But still, I like the show. I liked all of the Batman movies up until Batman vs. Superman. I hated that. I've talked about that a little bit before. I loved Wonder Woman. I've hated every single superhero movie that Zack Snyder does. And I'm not calling The Watchmen a superhero movie. It wasn't a superhero movie. I liked The Watchmen. This four-part episode, this four-part crossover, was a 4-hour superhero film. It is everything that Justice League could have been. It's everything that Batman vs. Superman should have been. It was still a TV film, 4-hour TV film, but the heroes were heroes in this. And it was like a good versus evil story. And it was really, really well done. Some of the costumes were a little bit hokey in places, but they were pretty much directly lifted from the comic book. The story that they're doing, Crisis on Earth X, is not exactly, but mostly lifted from the comic book, so it's definitely something that was covered in the comic books before. I laughed during this 4-hour movie. I cried 4 different times during this movie. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time. I absolutely loved this. So if you like the same kinds of things that I like, you have to see this. This was amazing. Um, One caveat that you need to keep in mind, especially if you know anything about the CW shows already, most specifically Supergirl, there are same-sex relationships in this, both men and women. So if that kind of a thing bothers you, know it up front. But I thought everything about this was absolutely wonderful. So that's my non-spoiler review. Now, spoiler alert, I'm going to get into spoilers now. Wow, what a whirlwind this was. So it started out with Barry and Iris's wedding, and it was kind of predictable. Well, like first of all, they obviously showed everybody basically teeing up all the 4 shows where the people were going to be coming to the wedding. And then the wedding started to come together pretty quickly, although there were some really nice and poignant scenes with some of the characters and their relationships, cross-show relationships, which is really nice to see. I really love seeing that level of connection. But it got into the wedding pretty quickly, and really obviously, it fell apart. Like, it went off the rails very, very fast. And so the Crisis on Earth X storyline has Earth 53. It's part of the New 52. This is Earth 53, Earth X, where the Nazis won the Second World War. So the Nazis have been in charge of everything since the Second World War, and all of our main heroes are the main villains on that side. And it's kind of one of those opposite worlds. The people who are villains in our world are heroes in their world. So we got to see Captain Cold come back, which was really nice. He was in a same-sex relationship with the Ray, and this is not a character that I know. I don't know this guy, but to be honest, this guy seemed to kind of like another copy of Firestorm almost. Just with the abilities of things he could do. Although he could fly a lot faster. Like, he was keeping up with Barry, which was kind of interesting. And as I said earlier, some of the costumes were a little hokey. And, some of the people who were playing villains on this other Earth were playing them, really evil. And some of that was a little bit hokey also. But all in all, the story compelled me from beginning to end. There was nothing that really broke me out of the story anywhere, and every time I saw 2 of the heroes from different stories fighting with each other, or holding each other, or helping each other, or whatever it was, I just got this rush of euphoria inside me. So yeah, I don't really have a lot bad to say about this show. The end scene, the very final scene after they had beaten all the bad guys and they finally decide that they're going to get married. Barry and Iris are going to get married. The way that they tacked on the Arrow and or the Oliver and Felicity wedding, I wasn't too pulsed by that. I didn't like that as much, but in the end, it was kind of hokey, but it was also kind of endearing, I guess. And it was kind of telegraphed a little bit, but if those are the only complaints that I can come up with, then you got to know that this was a really, really good crossover. The movie universe should really take a page out of what the CW universe is doing here now. I know that the basic storylines that the CW universe are not the kinds of things that would translate to a blockbuster movie on the big screen, but the way they're treating the characters in the CW right now, and especially how they brought all of these people together after having these 4 shows up and running for 2, 3, 5, 7 years, they really did that part of it right. So the movie universe really needs to start looking hard at this if they want to see how to have successful superhero franchises, especially that multiverse or that connected universe superhero franchise. Once you've got that done correctly, start branching out into the what if stories, the darker things, the different Earths, or the different superheroes. What if Superman actually landed in New Mexico and was raised by Mexican farmers until the United States government found him and locked him up for pretty much his entire life. That's a story the animated universe did, but they did it after the characters were well established, and they made it something very, very different, so that you weren't simply thinking that there was just something wrong with your favorite character. So that's pretty much all I've got to say about this. I've gone on far too long as it is. You'll notice, hopefully, that my video quality should be a lot better. It turns out I didn't have my camera configured correctly, and hopefully I've got the mic set a little bit better right now, although I have been talking to Barnacles, one of my best friends, and he's given me some suggestions for lighting and for a microphone. He gave me a suggestion for a camera, but it's actually the camera that I have already, and I just had to get it set up properly. So hopefully the videos that I have coming out from here on out will be a little bit better for you. So thanks everybody for watching, and this has been Darth Tigger's totally biased review.